Hey guys, what it do? It's your boy Supreme Uchiha the God, and I'm on phone mode again. Today I want to talk about Reigen, baby. Reigen, baby. We love Reigen, baby. Now don't worry, that Lucasm video is incoming. But they took a break for Christmas and that. So as a result, I'm taking a break too. I do have some ideas for it, so I will have some good videos for you. But right now, I want to talk about different things, baby, because it gives my spirit some life. You know what I mean? But Reigen, bro, Reigen is a sensational character, bro. That's all I want to say. First of all, he's one of the most intriguing dual antagonists slash secondary character. But I consider him the second protagonist of Lucasm of Mob Psycho 100, because his story parallels Mob in a completely different way. If we think about Reigen, we first meet him, we're introduced to a con man, and we're like, this guy is clearly a liar. But we think Mob doesn't know that he's a liar, and this is the thing here. We later obviously realize that Mob been knowing he's a liar, but he also accepts him because he accepted Mob. You know what I'm saying? There was only been two people in his life that accepted him for who he is and didn't treat him any differently for who he is. And it wasn't even his brother, Ritsu. It was his the love of his life and his crush, and Reigen. Those are the two people that accepted him for who he is. Powers, no powers, whatever. They just saw him as their friend. You know what I'm saying? And obviously with Reigen, he did use him. You know what I'm saying? He saw, oh, this kid is so gullible, I can use him. But he genuinely cared about him too. Like, it's almost his second father. And when I was watching obviously spoilers for season 3, when I was watching the last episode of Mob Psycho 100, and I saw his brother Ritsu reaching for him and everybody else trying to fight, I knew that he had to be Reigen. I knew that nobody else is going to be able to stop him. It's going to be Reigen, because I think Mob has an even stronger connection with Reigen than he has with his whole family. And one of the main reasons is because after he saved his brother as a child, and it scared him more from using his powers, I think, his relationship with his brother deteriorated. He looked up to his brother and his brother looked up to him, but there was a distance, there was a disconnect. And obviously he doesn't really hang with his parents like that. But the person he went to almost every day after school was Reigen. The person he spent most of his time with was Reigen. The person that influenced him the most was Reigen. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. So I knew that the person to have the biggest impact on him would be Reigen. Now the other, and the beautiful thing about Mob as well, I'll make a breakdown video on Mob himself, because Jesus, it's just absolutely beautiful. It is absolutely fantastic seeing what he actually, his character arc is. I don't know if this is the end of Mob Psycho. It makes sense if it is, but I kind of hope it's not, because I feel like there's a lot more to tell with these two characters. I think they're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful characters that you can expand and expound upon their tales. The only problem with continuing is the story is Mob no longer has the same blockage, but I suppose, he has to adapt to using this amount of power, because he never uses the power when he's at 100%. Now, another thing as well is question mark is that other body, right? Question mark power is that other power, but we still know that question mark didn't use all of its power. It was still, I think, somewhat containing itself, because obviously it wasn't going to kill the person it was going to try to date. Excuse me. It was just taking every obstacle out of his way to get there, because he basically died, right? And I'm talking too much about Mob, but Reigen. So obviously, it's first, it's an interesting start, because normally the mentor character is they may have a flaw or a secret flaw, but it's never, something you kind of discover and you surprised with the fan base. Also, not with the fan base, with the character, like, oh my god, they did this. Do you know what I'm saying? Wow, how could they type thing? And you think about it. It's rare where you know exactly the mentor's flaws and you even accept it, right? Like, yeah, he's a con man, but like, it's my boy Reigen. You know what I'm saying? He's not even really a con man, considering he actually does, do what he says. Even if he doesn't do it himself, he gets the job done no matter what. So it's kind of interesting when you get a character like that you're introduced to him as a person not to be trusted, and yet you trust him, and so does the protagonist, right? And as you see some of the ups and downs and the battles and the disagreements, you understand the relationship and the meaning it has for both of them even more. You know what I'm saying? Both of them are hiding something, and this is the beautiful thing about it. Excuse me. Oh, we're aware of it, and Reigen has saved, and I mean saved, Mob countless times. You know what I'm saying? Like when Mob didn't want to fight, Reigen was like, "Give me the powers. I'll do it for you. It's okay to rely on me." You know what I'm saying? He was the shoulder that Mob needed because he didn't feel like his parents understood. He didn't feel like his brother understood. He also wanted to protect his brother from that side of him. But with Reigen, he felt like he could let loose and trust Reigen to do the right thing with him. And that's the beauty of it, because he knows this man is a con man. He knows this man is this and that and that. But he also knows that Reigen will do the right thing when push comes to shove. And I think I know it's hard to boil down Reigen into just the final episode, but I think the final episode gives a fantastic not conclusion, a fantastic summary of who and what Reigen is. When he's going to get Mob, even when he discovers that it's Mob doing it. First of all, he's not worried about Mob ever losing control, really, but he gets if Mob is losing control simultaneously, because he's seen his power fluctuate, and him relying on him, and him not wanting to fight, and him always containing and constraining himself. So when it happened, he wasn't necessarily surprised. It was almost like, oh, I get it. You know what I'm saying? It was really interesting. It was such an I literally almost cried when Reigen was going through the storm with no goddamn Esper powers, and he was just running there, and he was going and going, and he fought his hardest. And when he got there, he actually, you know what I'm saying, tried to reach to Mob, and Mob just wasn't having it. You know what I'm saying? Mob wasn't having it because the other side was like, first of all, he was convincing, the power version was convincing Mob that like, yo, Reigen doesn't care about you. He's just been using you, da 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 da. And then Mob's brother was like, but he saved me countless times. He's been there for me countless times when he didn't need to be, type shit. You know what I mean? And he did do that. And so the beautiful thing there is like, oh shit, like damn, like this guy legit cares about me. That's the most important thing, And then he finally does reach Mob, and Mob just pushes him away. But he doesn't stop, bro. He almost dies, bro. He's getting flung around. I didn't even realize Reigen was this strong. But he's been training. He said he's been training himself just in case a moment like this called for it. He wanted to be able to actually protect Mob if push comes to shove, even if he has to die for it. And he was ready to die just to get through to Mob. His intention was never to fight Mob. Everybody's intention was like, use brute force, use this. But his intention was like, I just need to talk to him. There's an important conversation I can have with him that will allow him to understand the situation that he's in. You know what I'm saying? And the key thing here, he goes to Mob and he goes, listen to me. I am a con man. I am a liar. I am this. I am that. That's a side of me I've always been trying to hide. That's something I'm not proud of. That's some part of me I hate. But I also understand that it's a part of me. And it also allowed me to meet you. So I am grateful for that part of me, despite me despising that part of me. You know what I'm saying? I live with it, try to better it, I try to change it, but it's still who I was or who I am at some point. You know what I'm saying? And then that completely stops Mob. And I know some people might be like, why does that stop Mob? Because Mob has been doing the exact same thing. He's been hiding a complete other side of him. He's been hiding his motion. This is why the reason he explodes at 100% and a question mark, because those buried emotions are a part of him and they take control, and he hides into a shell and lets those emotions run wild. And when those emotions run wild, that's when he thought he hurt his own brother, even though he didn't hurt his own brother. But now, at this point, when all of it just ran wild completely, when he lost consciousness, so he didn't have any power left to push himself. The power was moving the body because the body was out of it completely. So as a result, he couldn't fight back that. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't control that energy. And we know that whenever it happens and he regains power, you know what I'm saying, of his emotions, he can fix situations. You know what I'm saying? So it's really just beautiful. I think Reigen's story is fantastic. I think, the fact that even he got too cocky when he got that, he was getting called on that TV show and he had to show his powers and he was about to get exposed and yada yada yada. And then Mob showed up and helped him, and he realized, oh, I was pushing Mob away from me by acting like this. You know what I'm saying? And even when he takes, Mob and the kids to see aliens, you know what I'm saying, or to watch the stars and stuff like that up in the mountain, like, it's just these moments that you can see that he cares. If Mob calls him and needs him for anything, he's always there. And if he needs Mob, Mob is usually there as well, which is kind of like a beautiful relationship. It's almost like a father-son relationship or an uncle and nephew relationship. It's like Mob's best friend is his uncle, you know what I'm saying? And it's fantastic, bro. I just think Reigen is one of the best second character, mentor characters, whatever you want to name, I've ever seen in any fiction, period. I think, Iroh is fantastic as well, but I actually think Reigen is more complex, and because of that, I'm more drawn to Reigen. I'm not saying he's better necessarily, although I think he's better, but I understand if you think, goddamn, the Avatar mentor, is better, you know what I'm saying? But that's Zuko's mentor, you know what I'm saying? That's just what I think. Uncle Iroh, but that's just what I think. I think that Reigen's complexity and the fact that he's not this super gun-ho good guy, I think that's what makes it beautiful. I just want to talk about Reigen. It's been your boy, Supreme God. I'm out.